Welcome to Mission Evolution Radio Show with Gwilda Wiyaka, bringing together today's leading experts to uncover ever-deepening spiritual truths and the latest scientific developments in support of the evolution of humankind. For more information on Mission Evolution Radio with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit www.missionevolution.org. And now, here's the host of Mission Evolution, Miss Gwilda Wiyaka.
The principles of manifestation are receiving significant attention. Recently, there's been a lot of discussion regarding 5D. Will the current laws of manifestation still hold true should we transcend to 5D? If not, what information do we need to manifest in the 5D realm? Mission Evolution Radio TV show is coming to you around the world on the X-Zone TV channel, xztv.ca. With us this hour to explore manifestation in 5D is Jill M. Jackson. Jill is an internationally celebrated psychic medium, trance channel, and author and spirit teacher. Jill's latest book, Manifesting Your Magic in 5D, Going Beyond the Laws of Attraction, and her debut, Mississippi Medium, My Journey from Southern Baptist to Talking to the Dead, continues to receive 5-star reviews. Her website, JillMJackson.com. Jill, thank you so much for joining us on Mission Evolution.
Hi, Gwilda. Thank you so much for having me.
This is an interesting topic. I think there's a lot of confusion around it, so hopefully we can clear some of this stuff up. So we'll start out with, Jill, what's your educational background?
I have a bachelor's degree in business, and I was a CPA as well in Hollywood for many years. I managed the money of people in the entertainment industry.
Well, that's quite a shift from there to being a medium. When did you become aware you were a medium?
I was actually aware that I was a medium as a small child. I could see the spirit world, and I tried to just fit into normal society, I guess. And that's when I went to college and tried to fit into the normal world, but soon realized that was not the case, and I stepped onto my true soul's path.
So when you were going to college and trying to act normal, right? Were you getting interference from the other realms?
Always. Yes, I've had experiences with the other world, again, going back to as far as I can remember. When I was 12, my grandmother was floating above my bed after she passed away. And so that was the first time I was able to hear the spirit world telepathically. Before then, I could only see them. But yes, the experiences with the other world never died down, no pun intended, but they just always continued.
It makes it a little difficult to live an ordinary life, doesn't it?
Yes, it really does.
Mhm.
But, for years, I thought everybody could see and talk to the spirit world. I kind of thought everybody had the gift.
And all of a sudden you figure out you're alone. That's a rude moment, I'll bet.
Yes, and that's why it's so wonderful when I met other colleagues, when I finally came out of the psychic closet and started meeting others. It helps a lot.
So when you saw your grandmother and then started hearing, do you see in your mind's eye, or do you literally see in the room? And do you hear in your mind's ear, or do you literally hear it in the room?
Great question. With my grandmother, I saw her with my eyes open. And from time to time, I will see the spirit world with my physical eyes. But the majority of the time now, I see them in my third eye. And the same thing with hearing them. Sometimes I will hear out loud, but the majority of the time, I hear them clairaudiently in my head, I guess.
So how long did it take you to figure out when you're listening to them and when you're listening to your own mind's voice?
Years. I had tons of mentors, and I studied all over the world. I went to Arthur Findlay College in England and studied in New York, New Jersey. So that helped me determine what was my own ego, what was my own voice, and what's the voice of spirit.
That's a challenge, isn't it? I think a lot of people miss the fact that it can be a mixed bag.
Absolutely. And that's why training is so important.
Mm, I would agree. So so we all understand Would you mind explaining what mediumship is?
Yes, mediumship is connecting to those who have transitioned to what some people term heaven, what I call the other world. And a medium is able to connect their loved ones that are left here in the physical to their loved ones on the other side.
As a medium, can you also connect with haunting spirits and those that have not crossed?
Yes. While I don't specialize in that, I am able to connect, and I have helped spirits that have not crossed over. I've helped them cross to the other side. Yes.
So I understand that's called psychopomp, yes?
I've never heard that term. I learned
Oh,
something new.
yeah.
Love that.
And it's Latin for helping the dead to cross. So you write about the quantum field, 3D, 5D, manifestation, and spiritual laws, to name a few subjects. How does being a medium qualify you to speak on those topics?
I'm also a channel, and I had a lot of experience with manifesting. I have always been a master manifester, but there was one area in my life that I was not able to manifest, and that was having biological children. And after 5 miscarriages, I went on a
Hmm.
quest and a journey to find out why I had been unsuccessful in manifesting that. And after several years, I began to see all of the pieces of that puzzle and the other spiritual laws in my soul's blueprint. And so I decided to help others with that as well. And I've channeled a lot of the information myself, and then some of it is from lived experience and from conducting thousands of readings and talking to the other world.
So what is a master manifester?
Someone that has the ability to think or speak what they're wanting or desiring and watching it come into this reality pretty quickly.
What do you think it takes to be one?
Trusting and understanding energy and frequency, because in getting out of our own way, we have so much false programming that we have been given over all the years, and just learning how to navigate away from that.
So do you think the false programming is designed to keep us subject to the system?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's easier to control the masses or control people if they learn that they can think outside of themselves. We're taught that we need to get our answers from outside of ourselves. And spiritual alchemy teaches us that all of the answers lie within.
Do they lie within or do they lie within our ability to connect elsewhere?
Both. I feel like that lying within ourselves connects us to our higher self, and also in turn helping us to connect to our spirit guides, ancestors, and our loved ones.
So when you're channeling, how do you know where you're channeling from and how can you tell it's reliable information?
Great question. I have had years and years of training, and I highly recommend that people understand energy before they open themselves up to channeling other realms, because it's really important to ensure that your vibrational frequency is in a high place and that you have a really strong connection with your spirit team. I have a lot of protectors, and I've been doing this for so long. I understand the difference in the energy. I even can help people understand the difference between mediumship, channeling other realms as far as angels, archangels, galactics. It's a different energy, it's a different frequency. And then even psychism is a different frequency from all of that as well.
What is?
Psychism,
Oh,
psychic,
psychism. What is that?
yes. Connecting to help people understand their soul path, or helping people understand their career, relationship questions. That's really reading the auric field of someone, or connecting to them on this level rather than talking to their loved ones on the other side.
Understand. So, do you have some buddies that you work with more frequently than others in the spirit realm?
I do. I have my own spirit guides, and then I channel a collective by the name of Solomon, and they have told me that they are ninth dimensional Palladian beings. And so when I'm trance channeling, that is more guidance for the collective rather than helping someone with their own individual path. If I am channeling Solomon or one of my guides and the client has a personal question about their path, purpose, or so forth, then they will connect with their guides as well and bring the information in that way.
Who connects with their guides?
Either Solomon or my main guide, Sasha or Simone are my
Main ones. So how did you find these helpers?
my spirit guides came to me over the years. I liken it to if you meet someone new and you go to a coffee shop and you start getting to know each other, your relationship develops over time, the friendship develops over time. It's the same with our spirit guides. And when I help people meet their own guides, I explain that it's a journey. And I would say it took me a couple of years before I even knew my guide's name. I knew she was female. I could feel her energy. I knew we had a past life together. But it was probably about 2 years in that I finally heard her name. So it's definitely a journey.
How'd you connect with her in the first place?
I started becoming aware of an energy that was outside of myself. And then clairvoyantly in meditation, I would see images of her in my third eye.
Okay, so that was one again, the internal sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Do
definitely
you have
internal.
does a person have to be, set their intention that they wanna connect with somebody, or do they come knocking on your door?
It's both. Sometimes people do set the intention, and then that is easier to make that connection. And then some people have random situations. A lot of times, if you're going through an illness or even a near death experience, or maybe a loved one has passed away, a lot of people start having experiences after that, and it does come in randomly where they're not expecting it.
Well, we know in the spirit world, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly. How do you recommend people tell that they're talking to a reliable source?
Another great question. Energy. Our spirit guides and angels and the higher dimensional beings, the multidimensional beings, will never bring information that is negative or harmful or anything. It is very, very loving. And you can feel the energy in your body. And that's what I teach people to do. When you are connecting with a higher vibrational being, you feel it in your body. Your body starts vibrating. You feel the love. You feel it in your heart chakra.
Well, it's time for us to take a station break. Jill and I will return very shortly, so don't go away. This is Mission Evolution, www.missionevolution.org. Aren't we always manifesting something? With us this hour discussing manifestation is Jill M. Jackson, the author of Manifesting Your Magic in the 5D, Going Beyond the Laws of Attraction. Her website, jillmjackson.com. Jill, it seems like we're always manifesting something, but how conscious are we in what we're manifesting? How can you tell?
It's important to learn the difference between our egos, our ego wants and desires, and the purpose from our higher self. And that takes some time and really understanding, doing our own healing, doing our own shadow work, really peeling those onion layers back and getting to know ourselves. and what we're here to do.
Heard very many times someone say, I want to manifest winning the lottery. What's wrong with that thought?
Nothing's wrong with the thought, but when we really learn our soul's blueprint, when we understand that before we incarnated, our soul chose this lifetime. We worked with our spirit guides. We chose a blueprint, so to speak, is what I like to call it. And within that blueprint, we have not only the experiences and the people that we want to meet in this lifetime, we also have soul challenges as well to help us grow and evolve as a soul.
Well, we very often think of money as the solution to all of our problems. But what you're saying is that's kind of beside the point?
It is beside the point because you've heard so many stories of people that have won millions and millions of dollars and they still feel an emptiness inside. They still do not have a sense of purpose. And every human is born with some type of purpose, with a blueprint.
So if we don't have the sense of purpose, does that mean we're simply not aligned with it? Not that it's not there.
Correct. It's always there. It's just learning to come into alignment with it.
And what does frequency have to do with coming into alignment with it?
It's a vibration. Place of fear or anxiety, that is a lower vibrational frequency, and that is connected more with the third dimension. It's the dimension of division, war, anger, separation. Whenever we learn to raise our vibrational frequency, we're connecting into more of an energy of unity and unconditional love. And when we're vibrating in that frequency, the frequency of the higher dimensions, it is much easier to come into alignment with our purpose.
So the dimensions aren't so much a place as a frequency?
Absolutely. It's a state of being, it's a state of consciousness rather than flying up to the next level, so to speak. Yes.
Darn, I was looking for my bus too. So how do we raise our frequency in order to access these higher realms?
Meditation, connecting with nature, listening to high frequency music. I love Hertz music. 963 is an amazing Hertz frequency. Many people are familiar with the 432 and 528. This helps raise our vibrational frequency. And then also, I love this one, practicing gratitude. When we start every single day in a place of gratitude and speaking it out loud, then we're raising our frequency.
Do we have to do a fair amount of soul searching and processing of past damage also?
Yes, it's part of peeling those onion layers back, the proverbial onion layers, because our past traumas are stored in the subconscious mind. And when they remain stored there, they come out as triggers and they can literally hijack our path and our purpose. So once we explore all of the aspects of our past traumas and get to know those shadow aspects of ourselves, then it creates more of a clear path from our conscious mind to go through the subconscious to the superconscious, which is connecting to the higher realms and the quantum.
So how many higher realms are there?
There's different people who have different beliefs on that. I have personally felt 33 realms, but and I've channeled information with 13 of those. And I've so every there's so many different thoughts on that.
So if we're is there a point at which we can't translate the information because it's too much of a frequency discrepancy when we're reaching to the higher realms?
I feel like it is. And I feel like, as you mentioned earlier, the information is there all along. It's just where humans' frequency is currently vibrating to be able to access and understand the higher realms.
There's a lot of information that as we move into the age of Aquarius, that we're overall coming into a higher state of frequency. Do you stand by that belief? And if so, how can we take advantage of it?
I would say that I do look at it that way, that we all have an opportunity, but we also have free will as well. And in 2019, my guides had shown me a time period where two different buses were coming, and people would choose whether they wanted to stay anchored in the 3D realm of the old earth, or they wanted to courageously step forward and embrace the new earth paradigm. And what we can see happening is the old earth is crumbling, and in order to build a new earth, sometimes it feels challenging to go through the crumbling of the old earth. And so many people are choosing to kind of hold on for dear life, if you will, to the old frequency.
Kicking and screaming comes to mind, right?
Yes.
So what does literally, what does it look like if one person decides to embrace the shift and another person wants to hold on to the old paradigm? Do they just disappear to each other, or what goes on?
What I've been noticing is energetically, they do disappear. You have heard story after story of people that have had many years of someone in their life, and something bizarre happens, and all of a sudden there's a parting of a ways, and sometimes you don't even know what happened, or you become more and more unaware of what's going on in that person's life, and vice versa. So it's a separation in that way, more energetically.
So you're losing resonance.
Yes, I love that word, resonance. My
Yeah.
guides give that word a lot. It's resonance, yes.
Mm. So would you please describe the law of attraction?
The law of attraction tells us that what we think and believe, that we are able to create in this reality.
I didn't get all that. Try it again.
That what we think, our thoughts and our beliefs and our words, are able to create those very things in our reality.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So sounds like we have to be very careful what we think and say.
Yes, absolutely. But there's other spiritual laws that go along with the law of attraction as well.
Well, I'm all ears.
I call the pillars of the law of attraction the law of action and the law of vibration. And I'll give an easy example. So, if someone has the want or the desire to meet a new romantic partner, yet they just stay home all the time, they don't go anywhere, they don't go out with friends, they do not take any action steps, then the universe does not really have the energy or the resonance to help bring that into reality. And then the law of vibration, when we create the action steps, a vibrational frequency is created that helps support the universe in bringing that into reality, as long as it is in tune and in resonance with our soul's blueprint. And that's the other piece of the puzzle.
So it sounds like we can't afford to be in victim stance.
Yes, that is a huge opportunity for many of us, because when we're going through challenges as a human, that's kind of where we go, right? Why is this happening to me? And it's really part of spiritual alchemy to start understanding that there is a soul growth opportunity in every challenge that we go through.
So you're saying that every time something really negative happens, there's a hidden gift behind it?
Absolutely. It doesn't feel like that in the moment. And at times it takes us longer than other times to understand and appreciate the gift. For example, I didn't feel like it was a gift after my fifth miscarriage, definitely not feeling like that was a gift. But years later, I understood my soul chose in this lifetime not to have biological children.
Well, it's a hard time to bring them into being right now, and in a lot of ways, I can see the wisdom behind that. But I'm sure glad I've got the ones I do. So I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
So would you tell us how manifestation differs from the law of attraction?
The law of attraction is a spiritual law. The universe has laws, just like as humans in our cities, towns, countries, we have laws. And so the universe has laws as well. The law of attraction is a spiritual law. Manifesting is when we are putting forth energy through our words, thoughts, actions, and behaviors to bring something into fruition into this lifetime. So many ways they are similar.
But they're different.
They are different because in understanding true manifesting, there's other spiritual laws that go along with it. For instance, if we are in the energy of control, when we're wanting to manifest something, and I hear people recommending that you create a vision board and every single day you look at it and you give it energy. But in my opinion, when we manifest and we tell the universe what we are wanting to bring into fruition, the spiritual law of trust and surrender helps us let go of that control and learn to trust the universe, because many times the universe will bring it into us in a different way than what maybe our ego mind thought it was going to come in.
So, when in the act of controlling, are we limiting the way spirit can produce?
Absolutely, because control is a lower vibrational part of our ego. Yes,
Is it tied in with fear?
absolutely. When we really learn that part of our shadow, and I call myself a previous control freak, recovering control freak, because I had that energy where I felt like if I could control everything, every aspect of my life, that that's the best way to do it. And, I learned that spirit and our blueprint and our spirit guides know much better than we do, our higher selves. And if we can just learn to let go of that control, and it is a fear, absolutely.
So when we come into this world, our vision is becomes very limited, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely, and I feel like that is by design as well.
Go into that a little bit, please.
I feel like that we are meant to forget some things and able to help us grow and evolve, and that's part of what's called waking up and remembering the authentic truth of who we are.
Mm. Well, it's time for us to take a station break. Jill and I will be right back to continue our discussion on manifestation and all things spiritual. Stay right there. This is Mission Evolution, www.missionevolution.org. 3D, 5D, 36D? What dimension are you in? This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org. With us discussing manifesting in 5D is Jill M. Jackson. Her website, jillmjackson.com. Jill, let's go into the dimensions a little bit. What's 3D?
The third dimension is where Earth is vibrating, or where we incarnated into. And that dimension, as I mentioned earlier, is a dimension of division, separation, a dimension where the thought is that everybody is separate. And it's more of an energy of the ego. It's more of the energy of what can I get for myself. It's more of that kind of energy. And the fifth dimension is the dimension of unity and the awareness that we are all connected and that we are all one. And also that there is abundance for everyone. The third dimension is a dimension of limitations in which the fear comes in, that there's not enough for everyone. When we're in fifth dimension, we understand that it is limitless.
Well, you said that the third dimension is the earth dimension, and yet when I look out at nature, it seems like they're more 5D because they aren't in competition. They trust that life's going to provide, and it does. So Would you clarify that a little for us?
Yes, absolutely. And I personally feel that the animal kingdom is vibrating in fourth and fifth dimensions. So I agree with you completely. And nature is already in the higher dimensions. And that's we can learn from the animals and from nature. And it's a reminder. And I tell people if you're feeling low and you're feeling your vibration needs to be increased, go out in nature, touch the trees, hug the trees, talk to the animals, and it's an instant vibrational increase in your frequency.
So 3D is not so much about the earth and the beings on her as it is about human belief systems and where we stand.
Yes, and where that individual human has chosen with their own free will to keep their own consciousness. Yes.
Well, we've talked a little bit about 3D and we've talked a little bit about 5D. What's 4D?
I feel that 4D is the bridge, and I also feel that it is the dimension of the elemental kingdom. I feel that it is the dimension where we dream, and that's why in the dream state, when we access the fourth dimension, it's much easier to connect with our loved ones or to get messages from the higher dimensional beings because it does serve as that bridge.
Is there something going on astrologically or whatever that's putting us in a better position to access 5D at this time in our history?
Yes, I am not an astrologer, but from what I understand and when I look at it energetically, absolutely. We are in a time period of great expansion and there's so much happening energetically. I know there's eclipses going on. We're in the energy of the 999s, which is endings of cycles. And as we know and understand, when we end a cycle, it creates space for new energy to rebuild in a higher frequency, and I feel that that's what's going on.
Is our ability to cooperate and be included in that building in the higher frequency dependent upon our ability to release the old?
Absolutely, because if we're still holding on to the old, that is a type of fear, and part of stepping into our true mastery as infinite beings is trusting. And again, it's easier said than done. I call it jumping off of that cliff and knowing that our parachute's going to open.
Or at least we hope it is, right?
Yes, we hope.
So I'm sure everybody right now is going, okay, so how do I move from 3D to 5D? Any advice?
Getting quiet, unplugging from traditional media, from the traditional news stations that are literally spoon feeding fear every single day, that is lowering our vibration, unplugging unplugging from the matrix, from dogma, and getting quiet, going out into nature, learning to meditate, and practicing and focusing on high vibrational words, being kind to ourselves and others, understanding energy.
I think all of us are plagued to one degree or another with these internal tapes that go on, and they're usually negative. Where do those come from, and how do they impact our ability to move from 3D to 5D?
They can come in from past lives, believe it or not. So many healers have an energy of persecution from past life that is still stored energetically in the field. And so it can come in from past lives. It can come in from society, from our parents, from teachers, from certain churches and religious figures. And that negative programming gets stored in the subconscious mind. And like you said, it just replays in these loops over and over and over.
What do we do about it?
We need to reprogram our minds and our brains. I like to say when we reprogram our minds, and science has proven that it takes about 3 weeks to keep a negative thought from coming in and reprogramming that into a positive thought. So it goes back to having an awareness with our thoughts, our words. And if we say something that is negative about ourselves or others, then we can just say, I cancel clear that to the universe and speak it out loud in a positive way. And that starts retraining the brain and those waves of the brain.
So, if we're retraining the neurological pathways, when we catch ourselves going into negativity, if we stop, cancel it out, do we still need to put forth the equal but opposite statement to reprogram with?
Yes, I believe that it is very important to do so. And the more we do it in any other habit, why not get into the habit of speaking kindly to ourselves and others and in a positive way?
And that condition can run so deep, though, it just slips up on you, doesn't it?
For all of us, I mean, every single one of us has had conditioning with false narratives that are just simply not true. And that's what I love helping people uncover and reprogram those negative thoughts into positive beliefs.
So, when we're having these tapes, are we indeed manifesting what they say if we aren't conscious and canceling them out?
Absolutely. Because even when we're joking with the universe, if we're saying something in a joking manner, the universe doesn't understand the difference in that. The universe just understands the words and the energy. So, yes, it's very important for us to be aware of our thoughts and our intentions.
It's a full time job, though, isn't it?
Yes.
You
Yes.
state manifesting in the energy of 3D does not work, yet looking around, there's a whole lot of manifestation going on. Would you please explain?
Yes, absolutely. When we are trying to manifest something in the energy of the third dimension, that is the energy where the fears easily come in. So we start when we're thinking about what we're wanting to manifest. If you find yourself with those thoughts that are programmed in your mind that start telling you you will never have that, you are not smart enough, you are not wealthy enough, those old programs that we have been conditioned to believe about ourselves, when we're in the energy of 5D, those thoughts do not come into existence.
It from what you're saying, and please correct me if this isn't right. It sounds like 5D isn't a place that comes to us, it's a place that we go to frequency wise.
I like to call it integrating the energy into our being, bringing that awareness into our physical reality. For years, we felt like that if we could just fly out throughout the galaxy and stay tethered, then that was the goal. But in reality, we are wanting to enjoy all the beauties of what this planet has to offer us while infusing ourself with the energy of the higher dimensions.
And what's interesting from what you've said, it is contained within the planet herself and all of her ones that live upon her.
Absolutely. And our Mother Earth is also going through an ascension as well to be able to hold the vibrational frequency of the humans and the collective on her planet right now.
What's bringing this about at this time in history?
It's a cycle. We can look back at history, and there's so many different epochs of times, and there's a beginning and an ending, and we are just witnessing the end of a cycle and an opportunity to rebuild a new paradigm, a new earth. And those of us who incarnated during this time, what a blessing. And we agreed to be here and help anchor in that energy in some way.
Does it relate somehow to the astrological ages?
I definitely feel that it does. Yes.
Because I know there's a lot of press going on about the dawning of the age of Aquarius. We've been talking about that. The New Agers started years ago, but it would appear that that's part of it.
Yes, I definitely feel that it is. Like I said, I'm not an astrologer, but I follow it. I have colleagues that are, and I believe in the science of astrology. And yes, we are definitely witnessing that. So you can look at it as an astrologer, as a psychic, as a channel, as an energy healer, and we can all agree that there is something shifting on our planet in a huge way.
Then there was lots of prophecies about that, wasn't there?
Absolutely. You can go back to biblical prophecy. You can go back to Nostradamus, Edgar Casey. There's just been a lot of prophecy throughout the years that this time would come in the evolution of our planet. And I truly believe that we are in the midst of that right now in that cycle.
Why do you suppose we get to be the lucky ones to weather this?
I feel that we chose this opportunity. It's such a blessing. Yes, it's challenging depending on the day. There's a lot of energy, and especially for those who are empaths who feel the energy and feel the energy of the collective chaos or the uncertainty on a daily basis. And that's why it's so important to learn energy, to learn how to ground. But yes, I feel that it's it's in a lot of ways such a blessing, and I feel we chose it. I believe in free will.
We hear a lot about grounding. Would you describe what that is, please?
Yes, grounding is connecting our bare feet to the energy of Mother Earth, and you can really feel the energy coming up from the bottoms of your feet. For years, I have, I believe, 7 water signs in my chart, and people are always saying Earth to Jill. I was always flying out into the ethers, into the galaxy, and one of my teachers started saying, if you would learn to ground yourself, it actually brings more energy in, and you can access your gifts even easier. And I started learning that and hugging trees and connecting with the earth, and it was a game changer because you're receiving energy from the earth and also from the heavens, as above so below, at the
At the
same
same
time.
time. So, well, it's that time. We need to take another station break. Please stay with us as Jill and I continue to explore esoteric concepts and beliefs. This is Mission Evolution, www.missionevolution.org. What do past lives have to do with manifesting today? This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org. We're continuing our discussion with Jill M. Jackson. Her website, jillmjackson.com. Jill, you mentioned earlier about manifesting and that sometimes we have tapes and beliefs that come from past lives. Would you go into that a little bit for us?
Yes, absolutely. Our past lives are stored in our Akashic records and in the layers of our auric field. And getting to know ourselves, getting to know our past lives can really help us expand as souls. For instance, if you have a fear or a phobia that makes no sense from anything that you have endured in this lifetime, many times it does come from a past life experience. And once you can look at that from a different perspective, you're able to clear that out of your energy field.
How can you tell it's coming from a past life versus ancestral damage? Because, of course, we're finding out now that damage is passed down through the generations through the DNA.
Absolutely. And that is such a powerful subject matter as well. So fascinating. It's our past lives can either come to us in meditation or through hypnosis and going to a certified past life regression counselor, and they can come up that way as well.
So, would you recommend doing that? You think it's going to help us? It's in the past. Okay. How's it going to help us today?
It definitely helps because it is just part of the puzzle and helping us understand ourselves. And in my opinion, our work and our growth as a soul just continues on. It never really stops. And we just continue having opportunities to explore. And I feel like past lives help us with that. I became certified in 2009, and it was a game changer for me. And I was able to uncover what I brought with me as fears and phobias from past lives that were not serving me. And I was able to release those and be done with it and move forward.
So, what's the quantum field and how is it related to manifesting?
I feel that the quantum field, I use a term life, and it's LIFE, and it's limitless information for everyone. And I feel that the quantum field is the field where there are limitless possibilities, infinite potential, infinite possibilities, and all of the collective wisdom is stored in that energy field as well. So it's that. It's all that is.
So, do we interact with it? Is that where we actually put the matrix down to manifest?
Yes, and that is the key. Once we understand that we have the power to step outside of the matrix and connect with the quantum, which is the energy of all that it is. The I am that I am is embedded in that energy.
So, you've mentioned it several times. What do you mean by matrix?
There's movies about it, but I personally feel that the matrix is a system of control, and it is a you can even look at it like a proverbial box that society has tried to program into us that we need to stay within the confines of this box and stay plugged into whatever those who are in charge of society tell us to think, believe, feel. And when we can understand that we can step out of that and unplug from that false knowledge, then that's when our true spiritual alchemy starts blossoming in a really beautiful way.
So, it's like a hologram that's been imposed on us versus truth?
Yes, that's a perfect way to look at it. Yes, it's an energetic hologram, an energetic box, if you will. Yes.
Is this why you recommend unplugging from the news and all that sort of thing when you're trying to raise your frequency and move to 5D?
Yes, because when we unplug from the false narratives and when we remove people in our lives that consistently feed us false negatives, then we are able to more easily tune into the wisdom of our own hearts.
What do you think about the stance of, I don't know, simply, I don't know, rather than having it decided upon, this is the truth or that's the truth?
I love that actually, because there's so much growth opportunity in choosing that maybe we just don't know, and maybe that information is going to come in a different way, in a different time. Yes.
Kind of leaves us open, doesn't it? And not in a bad way. So, what are soul contracts?
That's what I call our blueprints. And before we incarnate, we meet with our spirit guides. I call them our spirit team. And they do look at our past lives. They look at members of our soul groups and they help us come up with a map or a blueprint that creates destiny points. And what my guides have explained and channeled is that we as humans are given destiny and free will both, that our soul's blueprint has destined events in there. However, we are always given the free will choices to choose to go off path.
So, how we deal with it is up to us, but we have destiny in the sense that certain events are bound to happen.
Yes, you hear about it as some people call it the butterfly effect, where it was meant to happen. It was destined. And when you look at the circumstances leading up to it, it doesn't make rational sense how this person met that person in that divine timing and so forth. But we also have free will to make choices and alter our blueprint.
So, how does soul contract differ from karma?
Karma is a balancing of energy. And I feel that our past karma from past lives comes into account when we are working with our spirit guides to create our soul's blueprint for this current incarnation to help balance that said karma.
So if we slip way off track during one lifetime, does that create karma that we then need to deal with in some time?
I feel that it does. And from doing readings, I have been shown the karma from certain relationships, even where if someone is having a challenge with a relationship, we can look at that and explore the energy from past lives that is bleeding into this lifetime. And sometimes it's to balance that karma. And then sometimes it's to show us that that karma is complete and we have the free will to move on.
Well, come 9/9/25, we're moving into a gate, if you will, and it's called the karmic completion gate. What would that mean? Have you heard anything about that?
Yes. So in numerology, the number 9 represents completions, endings, and that's what many of us, most of us are experiencing right now is those areas of our lives that no longer serve our highest and best good, maybe relationships, jobs, things happening that if we look at it from the place of ego and like you mentioned earlier, the place of victimhood, why is this happening to me? But if we can really look at it in the energy of the 999, it is endings and completions so that new energy allows us to bring forth things and people and scenarios that better meet our highest and best good.
So, how do past lives and soul contracts play into our ability to manifest successfully?
For instance, if you have had past lives with the same scenario, and in this lifetime, your soul in the blueprint chose not to manifest something because you're balancing the karma from that past lifetime, then no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to manifest that very thing like you mentioned earlier, winning the lottery. Let's say that someone had a lifetime where they were very, very, very wealthy and they were a greedy person and they did not share their wealth. In their blueprint in this lifetime, more than likely, their soul would have chosen either not to win the lottery or to win the lottery and in turn share that wealth with others. So it is balancing that karma.
Do we have to be conscious of what karma we're balancing or just intend to balance it and the circumstances will arise?
Both. The circumstances always seem to arise, and I feel like if we can be aware of them, it helps us more consciously move through how we're going to deal with that energy and work through it.
Well, seeing as how the 9/9 gate is just about upon us, what recommendation do you have for our audience to take advantage of it? What should we be doing during that time?
To be honest with ourselves, because spiritual growth is sometimes challenging. I say that it's not for the weak of heart, but if we can really become honest with ourselves and recognize patterns, people, situations that are not really serving our highest and best good, allow that energy of the 999 to complete those cycles, to help us dismantle and end those particular cycles in knowing that it creates a blank canvas, so to speak, for us to bring higher vibrational people, energy, situations into our lives.
So, what role does gratitude play in that process?
It shifts our energy. And I do this every morning. I wake up and I say out loud what I am grateful for that day. I shift it up. I bring in different aspects of gratitude. And it helps, it reminds us that the energy of being grateful for such beauty that we have on our planet brings just a different awareness for the day. I recommend that everyone try it.
We're about out of time, but I need to ask you, what's the wisdom of the heart?
Connecting with our heart, even the knowledge of our heart. Science has proven that our heart contains more intelligence than our brains. Our brains contain the energy of the ego, and our heart is connected with the energy of our soul and our higher self.
Well, Jill, it is that magic moment. We are out of time. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show and sharing your wisdom.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Our guest this hour has been Jill M. Jackson. Jill is the author of Manifesting Your Magic in the 5D, Going Beyond the Laws of Attraction, and Mississippi Medium, My Journey from Southern Baptist to Talking to the Dead. To find out more about Jill, where you can find her books and all she has to offer, visit her website, jillmjackson.com. This has been Mission Evolution with Gwilda Wiyaka. For more information or to enjoy past archived episodes, visit www.missionevolution.org. But please be sure to join us again right here on the X Zone TV channel, xztv.ca, where this mission will continue, bringing information, resources, and support to a rapidly evolving world.